what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave. Kolod baleva penima, nefesh Yehudi homia, ulfatei mizrach kadima, ayin letzion Sophia, Odlo Tikva bashnot hamayim, liot ha'chovshi be'artzeinu eretz Zion Yerushalayim, liot ha'chovshi be'artzeinu eretz Zion Yerushalayim.
Welcome, welcome to one and all, to family, rabbis, teachers, principals, leaders, and most of all, graduates and students. From the Margan Hebrew Academy, Feinstein Yeshiva South, Goldie Margolin Hebrew High School for Girls, and the Cooper Yeshiva High School for Boys, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Siyum, a graduation, is a milestone in your education. And the question is, what is education? And there are three major expressions, Hebrew and earlier Hebrew, later Hebrew, for education. And I believe that they can tell us something about what we're celebrating here today. Number one is the word chinuch, education. And it relates to the word Chanukah, or dedication or initiation, because all learning is a beginning. The more we learn, the more we realize we're at the beginning of knowledge, not at its end. There's more to gain. And you, the graduates, understand this. Because you're all going on to study in Israel, you understand that this is just the beginning. And you know that Israel is a beginning and college is a beginning. It's a lifelong journey to understand chokhmah, wisdom, and Torah. Number two, there's the word limud, from the shores of Lamed Mem Dalet, which is also connected to lilamed, to teach. In fact, the Rambam in his listing of the mitzvot says that the mitzvah is both to learn and to teach. And as those who have ingested the words of Torah and the words of wisdom in these many years, you are now in a position where you can not only learn, but you can begin to share with others, as you have in many ways of chesed and kindness, to share with others and to share what you've learned. And finally, the other expression is shinun. We say in our Shema that we should make these words sharp. It says in the Sifrei, it says in the Rashi, that the words of Torah have to be sharp in our mouths. You've spent 12 and 4 and many years learning and learning it again, learning the parsha and learning it again, learning math and learning it a different way, reading and reading some more to make the words of Torah and wisdom sharp in your mouths. And you'll continue, God willing, to do so. So I want to wish each one of you Mazel Tov on this chinuch, on this initiation into continued learning, this limud, this learning which leads to teaching, and this shinun, this learning that has gone on all these years, that has begun to sharpen these ideas in your mind. We just can hope that you continue with the chinuch, limud, and the shinun for many years to come. Continue to have spiritual and material success in all that you do. Mazel Tov.
Good evening, everyone. Esteemed rabbis, administrators, teachers, parents, and graduates. It is my pleasure to stand before you and celebrate the special achievement with you tonight. I know that this has been another difficult COVID year, but dealing with tough issues in life makes you stronger, more independent, and prepares you for the next chapter of your life. The MHA-FYOS has taught you how to accept change, adapt to it, and deal with obstacles in your way. The school has prepared you to advance to the next stage of your lives and take all you have learned and put that knowledge into action. Having graduated 4 sons from the Cooper Yeshiva High School for Boys, I know firsthand how proud you parents are of the growth your children have achieved up until this point of their lives. Today, we are graduating 13 wonderful young men and women who have evolved and matured in the classrooms and hallways of the MHA. As you approach this important milestone in your lives, it is our hope that you look back at all the wonderful times you've had at the Cooper Yeshiva High School for Boys and Goldie Margolin School for Girls with warmth and affection. We pray that you remember all your amazing rabbanim, teachers, administrators, and staff who inspired you, who looked out for you, and who devoted the time to help you on your way. Your secular and Judaic education and overall experience at the MHA-FYOS will serve you well as you embark on your journeys to study in Israel and at institutions of higher education. Looking into the admiring crowd lucky enough to witness your graduation tonight, I see many of your teachers who nurtured you and guided you along your way. They have helped each of you find your talents and special skills, develop your unique identities, and guided you through various challenges in order to accomplish your goals. I would like everyone on our faculty to please stand up so we can acknowledge your presence. You, our graduates, have formed close friendships with your peers and learned many important lessons. You have been fortunate to have benefited from a truly wonderful and nurturing environment. You have experienced both accomplishments and occasional hard falls. You've represented our school with pride, served us delicious state dinners, won basketball games, tennis and golf matches, cross-country meets, mock trial and model baked-in competitions, excelled in Model UN and national academic competitions, claimed scholarships and impressive acceptances at competitive institutions, shared Torah wisdom with our community. The list goes on and on and on. As a community, we are proud of all that you have accomplished, and we are lucky to graduate such an impressive group of students. We've done our part. Now it's your turn to prioritize your goals and reach your next destination with strength and real purpose. Sitting here today in your caps and gowns, looking at your family or friends, you are now ready to advance to the next stage of your lives. Each of you is unique and has different capabilities and potential to offer, talents that you may have already developed, or ones that you are yet to bring. I hope each of your journeys offers you endless opportunities and a lifetime of happiness and success. And though you might feel that you are on your own to develop your specific goals, you must be aware that we are here for you. You will always have a warm place in our hearts. But just as we're here for you, we want you to be here for us. It is our wish that we will hold a special place, that you will hold a special place in your hearts for the MHA-FYOS. We hope you'll read and contribute to our alumni newsletter. You'll share exciting updates and stay in touch with your teachers, and you'll visit us here in Memphis often. We wish you success and joy in the years ahead as you gain in Torah and knowledge. You are the leaders of MHA's future. So go out there, be productive, and do great things. We can't wait to continue to shine in the pride we feel in each of you. Congratulations, class of 2021.
In 2015, the New York Mets went to the World Series. However, that sentence alone doesn't tell the whole story. In late July, the Mets were in the mix of the playoff race and wanted to bolster their roster. In the middle of the game on July 29th, news broke that shortstop Wilmer Flores had been traded for outfielder Carlos Gomez, and Flores heard about it from a fan. Going on to play defense, Wilmer was seen crying while playing his position, not wanting to leave the place that he had known to call home. In the end, the trade fell through. Wilmer became a fan favorite, and the Mets instead got Yoenis Cespedes to lead them to the World Series. However, the takeaway from Wilmer's story is a connection between a person and their city. In my lifetime, I've called many cities home. I was born in Philadelphia, where my mom was in medical school, and then moved to Passaic, New Jersey, where my mom was in residency. We then moved to Baltimore, Maryland, where my mom was a fellow, and then ended up in Memphis, Tennessee, where my mom works at St. Jude. Thanks, Mom. Through all of my travels throughout the country, each city left me with something new and different. So even though we moved around, really my mom is the reason that I was able to gain so much from cities across the United States and the Memphis Jewish community. Over these past 9 years, Memphis has transformed from a place that I had once lived to the place that I call my hometown. When Yisro, Moshe Davidowitz came to live with the Jews in the desert, he was an outsider, moving into a new place. Through the opportunities provided by the community, Yisro was able to make an immediate impact and reform the Jews' entire judicial system. Not only that, when he wanted to leave, as he read just a couple weeks ago in Parshas Valos, Moshe tells him to stay because the people and Hashem wanted him there. Yisro is an example of someone who was an outsider, who was accepted by a new community and thrived there. Similarly, I think that through the opportunities that I've received in Memphis, I've grown exponentially and made an impact. When it comes to education, our school has helped me tremendously. In big schools and other cities, students don't usually get enrichment material that can help them develop the their ahead. My best subject happens to be math, and when I lived in Baltimore, math enrichment wasn't really an option. At the MHA and the CYA just made, I was guided through a plan that would allow me to get a year ahead in math, so I could take calculus in the 11th period. Because of the size of our school, we can cater to every single student, and I benefited from that. Our school also offers an incredible amount of AP and high-level classes that I was able to take, helping me learn a lot in the present, giving me the opportunity to gain college credit for the future. The educational opportunities at our school are incredible, and has shaped who I am today. Editing and being a part of the CYA we do in the past 4 years has also given me opportunities to work on and improve my writing skills. I have been given a platform for over 100 issues to write about current events, politics, school activities, sports, marturas, and whatever else I wanted to write about, which has improved my writing and editing skills, and it is something that I would never have been able to be a part of elsewhere. On the Judaic side, I am someone who enjoys learning, and our school, this year, gave our Gemara class an extra period, so we would have over 2 hours of Gemara in the morning. Rabbi Schubert has dedicated so much time to learning with me, both after school and on the weekends. The dedication the Ravane at our school show, and the way they are able to provide each student with exactly what they need, is what makes our city and community not just a dot on the map, but a true home for Torah and learning. Our school community have also aided me in my sports career. When you look at me, do you see a star basketball player? The truth is, you probably only think that I was good at chess. However, our school has granted me the opportunity to have been able to not only play for varsity in 10th grade, but to have scored. I have a point in the Cooper Invitation. Not only that, but I have a record-breaking career 50% shooting percentage from the free throw line. In all seriousness, our school presents an incredible amount of sports opportunities, from tennis to cross country to basketball to golf and other intramural sports like the CYFL, our soccer league, and occasional baseball games. Our school is focused on making sure that we have fun and stay active while bonding with our peers, and I have really enjoyed that for most of the past decade. Memphis has become my hometown through the way that it has provided me with opportunities only found in a small community like this. The school has given me help at every opportunity, allowing me to improve and advance to become the person I am today. Like Wilmer Flores, I will also be sad to leave, but I know that because of my experience in our school, the Memphis Jewish community, my World Series is right around the corner.
Good evening. Some of you may know me as Ruthie Kaplowitz. I, however, recognize no such one-dimensional name. Perhaps I'm Ruthie, a nearly fluent Hebrew speaker. Maybe I'm Big Sister Ruthie, fourth grade math tutor extraordinaire. I also consider myself to be Chef Ruthie, maker of all things Shabbos. I'm a passionate person who cares about a multitude of things, and many who know me would agree that I'm a voracious reader. Co-president of Student Council Ruthie has created activities and games to bring the students of the GMSG closer together. Yanman Team Captain Ruthie has helped prepare delegates for the 30th annual conference, held virtually this past February. Over the past 4 years, I have learned that my manifold interests and multifaceted personality have enabled me to be both a leader and a follower, outspoken and quiet, debater and listener, friend and fierce basketball opponent. I have contemplated the myriad aspects of myself, and it has led me to find my inner courage. As I take my next steps forward and move away from the school that has supported me on my journey, I share the following, a name I will make for myself. Within the next 7 years, I plan to be Miss Kaplowitz, Chumash teacher. Over the past 4 years, I've been privileged to learn Chumash with Mrs. Suzuki, Mrs. Harris, and a core group of avid students. Whether through Chavruta-style learning or reading a Farshim and following questions together as a class, we have thoroughly covered Sefer Inspiration, Shmot, Bamidbar, and Devarim. Most verses contain life lessons, can be interpreted through a plethora of commentaries, and have infinite depth that can be discovered through review, discussion, and contemplation. While I could speak about any number of relevant topics, I feel this would be an appropriate time to reflect on two significant moments of action and inaction in the Torah. In last week's Parsha, Parshat Shlach, the incident of the spies scouting the land of Israel is a private one. Bnei Yisrael decided they wanted to send a scout from each tribe to survey the land the people were promised by Hashem. Despite the miracles shown to the spies in Eretz Israel, 10 of the 12 spies reported danger and warnings to Bnei Israel. Vayisavru lo vayamru, banu el haaretz asher shalachanu, gam tzvach halav v'dvashi v'zeh efetz ki az ha'am yoshev haaretz, v'ha'arim v'tzuruk v'dolov v'dolov v'gam rodei ha'anat ra'inu sham. This is what they told him. We came to the land that you sent us. It does indeed flow with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. Nevertheless, the people who inhabit the country are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw Amalekites there. On the surface, the spies' report is factual. However, they and Bnei Israel are punished for slander. The Ramban interprets the wicked actions of the spies as saying the word ethics, nevertheless, which signifies something negative and something impossible of achievement under any circumstances. The pessimistic report demonstrated a lack of amun, or faith, in Hashem's promise that the land would be delivered to them. In contrast, when Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, died, Aaron did not take any action. Vayomer Moshe el Aaron, hu asher diber al Hashem, lemor, v'kerovai hakadosh ve'al bnei kol ha'am echabed vayidon Aaron. And Moshe said to Aaron that which Hashem said, through my close ones I will sanctify, and before all the nation I will be honored. And Aaron was silent. Aaron's lack of response is initially surprising. Why was he silent after 2 of his sons were suddenly consumed by fire? Sforno says that Aaron was comforted by Moshe's message from Hashem after his son's death. He consoled himself after having been told the death of his sons represented a sanctification of the name of the Lord. Aaron's silence demonstrated his faith and comfort that his son's death was not in vain. I've described 2 examples when silence or inaction was the right thing to do. When should we be obligated to act? Our mitzvot guide us to act and not act throughout our lives, to make decisions both large and small. In my learning while in the GMSG, Rabbi and Mrs. Harris have taught me about the mitzvah of Shabbos in many ways. Shamar Hazar, to keep and remember, encompasses both positive and negative commandments. While I consider my behavior during Shabbos, I can draw on my GMSG learning from a source-based and halachic framework. My fellow graduates, now is our time to reflect on the choices we will make for ourselves in our adult lives. As we continue to pursue our academic and extracurricular interests, our education here is a strong foundation for an intellectually and spiritually fulfilling future. Thank you.
The Laverne Award is given to the student or students that possess midot, chesed, community service, and dedication to the Torah way of life that set themselves apart from their peers. It's given in memory of my mother, Bernice Cooper's sister, my Aunt Laverne Schramm-Wine. This year, the faculty has selected 2 students to receive the award. The first is Rachel Finkelstein. And the second award is to Victoria Valeriano. Mazel tov to all the graduates.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the commencement exercises of the class of 2021. It's always wonderful to gather together to celebrate achievements, and we are so glad that you were able to join us tonight, whether in person or on Zoom. I feel like each year I share a little bit about myself to the community, and tonight's speech is no exception. The students have met several of my relatives and close family over the years at school events. Tonight, I'd like to tell you a bit about my grandfather on my father's side, Dr. Ellis John Huey. My grandfather was a bit of a quiet man and never really talked much about his past. He worked his way through college and then medical school by joining the ROTC. After he graduated and completed his military service, he went into private medical practice. When World War II broke out, he was called back up for service and was promoted. He ended up serving in various Army hospitals in the Pacific, including one in Luzon in the Philippines behind Japanese lines. Eventually, he became commander of the 92nd EVAC Hospital. He retired from the Army as a colonel and then worked at the VA hospital for many years. I remember my trips to the base with him and the salutes and the thank yous he always received for his service. Nurses jumped when he went to the VA. It didn't really dawn on me until I was much older how much of a sacrifice he had really made. Grandpa never spoke to us much about the war, but he became a man whose example of hard work and service my family chose to emulate. I have a family member in every branch of the U.S. military. My uncle was a Marine. My dad was in the Tennessee Air National Guard. I have cousins in the Army and in the Navy. I also have family members in many medical fields. None a doctor, but we have x-ray techs, nurses, and physical therapists. So how do I fit in? I have the right title, but I didn't join the military, and it turns out that science and math aren't my thing. My role in the family, though, has become quite obvious. I'm the keeper of the family tree. I gather the oral history, I keep the records, and I update our ever-branching tree. Relatives call me for that, and that makes me very proud. We each have our roles to play in life. We each have been inspired by something in our past that molds our future. Tonight, you will hear from each graduate about what has inspired them. They have so much still to do with their lives, but I think you'll be impressed by how much they've already accomplished. Mazel tov to the class of 2021.
When I started my high school career, I came into a new school as an outsider. I didn't have any of the same values as the boys in my school, and I always skipped my Judaic classes. I came home absolutely miserable daily, and my parents became more and more concerned as my mental health started to deteriorate and my grades plummeted. I never felt heard or understood, and no matter how hard I pushed myself, I couldn't improve how I was feeling. The next year, my parents chose a different school for me, one that we thought would better suit me aesthetically and academically. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work well in this school either. Sadly, my new friends weren't true friends, and they were a terrible influence on me. Instinctively, I knew that I was headed down a path that only led to pain and failure. I knew I had to help myself before I hit rock bottom. I completed the 10th grade at home and began to search for a school that could support me academically and emotionally so I could graduate high school and rid myself of the terrible habits that I developed over the years. I looked at 7 or 8 schools before I found a place where I would not only fit in, but would be able to grow as an individual. I met a remarkable rabbi, Rabbi Gersten. During our very first conversation, Rabbi Gersten impressed me like a rabbi no other I had met before. He was open and communicated with a willingness to give me a chance to start over as a student and as a person. Over the past 2 years, Rabbi Gersten has always been someone I can trust, someone who is willing to work with me and help me. He listens to me without judgment or criticism and allows me to vent and process my feelings. Rabbi Gersten always patiently listens to me and gives me guidance regardless of my outrageous behavior. I know my behavior has been challenging and that I have sometimes gone in the wrong direction on my path towards success. However, wherever I was, I knew I was on the right path because when I turned my head, Rabbi Gersten was standing right there beside me. Switching to the Cooper Yeshiva High School was the best thing I ever did. Meeting Rabbi Gersten was the most transformative experience of my life. Although the path was hard, I know deep down that I could graduate standing before you today because of the hardships I had to go through to get to where I am now. I'm proud of the person I am, and I'm filled with the accomplishments. I'm filled with pride of all my accomplishments. I would like to thank Rabbi Gersten for believing me. It feels good to have someone in your corner, and I know I can always count on Rabbi Gersten being the one in mine.
Additional responsibility, fear of the unknown, unease at the thought of change. These were just some of the irrational thoughts that raced through my head as I made my way through high school. If you ask any of my peers, they will tell you that I used to have fear of growing up. I know that sounds strange. The truth is, we all had this fear at some point. Growing up is scary. Who wants greater responsibilities? I've been at this school since pre-K 3. That's 15 years, basically my entire life so far. This is a place where I felt so comfortable, have made so many friends, and feel so close to my teachers. The thought of leaving high school, stepping out of my comfort zone into the world is scary, and once upon a time seemed like years away. I was nervous about leaving the great atmosphere our school has, nervous about college, and nervous how I would ever choose a career path. What was I ever going to do? But something changed over the course of this year, when leaving high school wasn't so far away anymore, and I had to make real decisions for my future. The scary feeling I had for so long wasn't there anymore. This year was challenging for most of us, but for me, it was also very transformative. When writing my Stern application at the beginning of this year, I had to reflect on my entire life and the last 4 years of high school. It helped me realize how much I've grown up since I first started high school and how much I've gained from my time with the GSG. It also helped me realize there are greater opportunities out there, and all that I learned academically and personally in high school, I could take with me into college. Then I had to make another decision for my life. Where did I want to go to seminary? I thought I knew until suddenly I decided to switch directions and to go to MHA-FYOS instead. What prompted this change? I've gained so many skills in the GA classes, and I've developed such a passion for learning Torah, so I wanted to challenge myself more. AP Psychology this year also changed my direction. I discovered something I was passionate about and maybe interested in pursuing in the future. I have a direction for my life now. So then it came to me. I wasn't scared anymore. The teachers at this school have helped guide and shape me into the person I am and want to continue to become. Although it was sad to leave, I'm ready for what lies ahead. Ready to continue my GA studies, ready to learn in Israel, and ready to go to college at Stern. The thought of growing up isn't so scary after all. I have the tools I've gained at this school to help me for the future. Change and growth is a beautiful thing.
I've been in the MHA since pre-K3, 15 years in the Margaret Hebrew Academy. That's a lot of years in one school. And this is my third graduation ceremony to focus on here. Okay, the 8th grade was just an advancement, but you know what I mean. One piece of my experience that I know is unique to being at the Cooper Yeshiva High School for boys is the ability to be a leader and to help make decisions that really impact the school. I have so many friends around the country, and due to their class sizes, it limits what they can do. The school tried to bring opportunities for them, with tones and canoe trips, but as most of you know, the best way for boys to bond is through sports. Most people who know me know I love all sports, but football is my biggest passion. With the help of one of my close friends and classmates, Ezra Summer, we decided to bring flag football to the CYHSB. The idea was simple at first, to start a flag football league at the school. We would then name it the Cooper Yeshiva Football League, or the CYFL. It was created as a competitive environment for us to play sports, but more importantly, it allowed all students of all athletic abilities to come together and create teams, as a mix of upperclassmen and lowerclassmen. The first season started off as a great success. Teams made jerseys, students bonded, students even hung around when they didn't have a game, just to cheer each other on. However, like most things in 2020, the season was cut short due to COVID-19. Over the summer, many upperclassmen reached out to me and were advocating for another season. But the COVID pandemic meant no team sports to start the year. We often played sports outside of school with masks and trying to social distance, but it wasn't the same. We missed the whole school participation. As many students received the vaccine and the number of cases around the country, and specifically in Shelby County, decreased, the time for the CYFL had arrived. With just enough weeks to squeeze in a season, Ezra and I turned to our Gerson, and he agreed it was time to play. We then approached the COVID czar and Mendelsohn Owen, and after a few meetings, he agreed it was set that we would indeed have a season. Flag football has allowed me to get to know all the students, and hopefully the fun experiences they had and the relationships they are building with upperclassmen will inspire them to find ways to keep the CYHSB unified as one school. The CYHSB has given me the opportunity to take leadership roles in class academic classes as well as extracurricular activities. I'd like to give a quick shout out to the first ever CYFL champions, the Talam Lions.
It'll work like that. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
While a lot of graduates have been shaped by their senior year, especially during this pandemic, for me it was my freshman year at the CYHSB that helped shape me into the person I am today. Actually, it was a particular class in 9th grade with a special teacher that really made a difference. Every 9th grader has to take a mark, and I was not the learning types of Aramaic that did not interest me. That was especially true the first month of school, But fortunately for me, after the first quarter, Rabbi Sapir, who happened to be teaching freshman Gemara that year instead of Rabbi Gersten, decided to switch topics. We moved to the topic of grammar, or indirect damages. I found this to be a perplexing topic because one could damage another intentionally but never be punished for it, as long as it was done indirectly. I thought this was a crazy law and no court could operate like that. Rabbi Sapir pushed back and told me to form a question and not just make a statement that passes judgment, like this makes no sense. That was the moment I realized that I could really enjoy learning and pushing myself to think more about the text in front of me. I learned to differentiate between moral and legal or bluff and liability. As Rabbi Sapir and I debated the points of grammar thoroughly in and outside of class, I started to pay attention and ask more questions. Any question that came to my head. My hope was to stump the rabbit, and I learned the challenge for me to pose good questions. No matter what the question, Rabbi Sapir would always take the time to look through the Rishonim and find answers. I was becoming a key participant in class and would come home excited about what I had learned. I would tell my mother all about the Gemara and about the arguments we had that day. Rabbi Sapir stuck with me and always encouraged me to keep asking questions. The support and encouragement of Rabbi Sapir and all my teachers at the CYHSB have let us spark me to continue to question and learn. With my parents' support and guidance, I've had a great 4 years. And Bezrat Hashem, I'll be spending the coming year at Yeshiva Rishi, where I will continue learning, and I hope to return with more questions and answers.
The summer before ninth grade, I had experienced one of the greatest losses of my life. My grandparents had a sudden death and chaos surrounded me. When I was supposed to be applying and interviewing for schools, I had a busy morning. And by the time we got to it, all schools were full and not even looking at my application. I started my freshman year of high school homeschooling, filling for jobs just to keep myself busy. After a few months, my parents had discovered that never had me in Brooklyn. I was so excited to have a set schedule and some structure in my life, but unfortunately, this wasn't the right fit for me. Without distractions this time, we were on it. We spoke to many schools trying to find the one that would best fit what I needed. Luckily, they heard about the GMSG. When my parents brought the idea to me, I laughed. I was surprised that my own parents thought I would leave home to a new school with new people and a new community I'd never met before. I had multiple interviews with the school, and they were excited to have me, but I still had to decide if this was the right decision for me. This was the moment I had to decide how I'd treat the remaining years of my high school. Should I be unhappy and go back to Brooklyn? Should I start homeschool again for the next 3 years? Should I just receive my GED and skip out on the most critical years of my life? I finally made my decision. I decided to join the GMSC. I was taking a leap of faith, praying that I would not have to switch to another school the following year. I hoped that this was the right decision, and it was. I'd been at the GMSG since the 10th grade, and it was the best decision I could have made for myself. I was so lucky to be in the dorm where I was with other girls who were also coming from out of town. I've learned so much about myself and those around me. Being in the dorm taught me how to be independent, responsible, and organized. Academically, I've become the best student I've ever thought possible. I constantly challenge myself and formed connections with teachers in Laverne who genuinely care about my success. I am so happy that I made this move to the GMSG, and it's helped me motivate myself to learn and challenge my thoughts. There's a famous quote, Gamze Yavor, "This too shall pass." When we go through hardships, we should have this quote in mind and keep hope knowing it's only temporary. In the greatest times, we should remember this and to appreciate and grasp this amazing, wonderful feeling of true happiness. Looking back, I realized that Hashem put me in those schools for the sole purpose of showing me what I genuinely needed. He had me go through the hard times so I can flourish in the good ones. Thank you.
I know this is a little backwards, but I'm not known for doing things normally. I would like to start by saying thank you to those that stand by me, my family and friends. These are the people who have shaped me into who I am and who I will be. These are the people who have taken the time to care for me and get to know me. My friends are very important to me because they are my chosen family. I choose them out of everyone and they choose me. When things get tough, your family has to stand by you, but your friends choose to. Friends don't have to stay together when things get tough. What about friends that are so important? In Pirkei Avot, the rabbis say, acquire for yourself a friend. This makes it seem that you're supposed to take out your wallet and buy a friend. But this can't be. So what does it mean, really? There are two types of friends. Those that are surface level and those that are deeper. A surface level friend is someone that you have one of two things in common with, like a favorite book or movie. A deeper friend is a friend you would be someone you trust and tell everything with. I love art, especially crocheting, animals, history, fantasy, and learning random facts. Did you know the King of Hearts is the only king without a mustache? Why am I saying all this? Because my friends and I have similar hobbies and interests. But that doesn't mean that's the reason why we're friends. As you can see, my friends do not crochet, wear cat ears, read the same books, or know the same random facts. It is based on more than just surface level friends. We are friends because we understand and value each of us. We appreciate and celebrate the differences that we share and what is special. We bond over differences we have and the company we share, and we know it's invaluable. When it says, acquire a friend, it says, make strong bonds that will never be broken. I look forward, and I'm confident that the bonds are deep enough that we share to survive the challenges of time and distance as we move on in our lives.
Hi everyone, and mazel tov to my fellow graduates. My name is Ezra Summer, and I've attended the MHA for my entire life. Over the course of my time at the school, I've learned many different important lessons and ideas. I wanted to share a story with you all that led to a very crucial realization. When I was in 9th grade, my Algebra 2 class was an abnormally large class, and sometimes the students got a little rowdy. Since it was such a large class, I was able to get away with more things. Let's just say some of those things may have included chicken tenders and Fortnite. After 2 months of this mischievous behavior, it came time to prepare for a test, and surprise, I realized I didn't know any of the material. My first reaction was to blame the teacher. I thought to myself, what a terrible teacher. Why hasn't he taught me anything? With only 1 week left before the test, I went into class the next day frustrated and nervous that I wouldn't do well on one of my first tests in high school. I decided to try and give the teacher my full attention. To my surprise, I quickly learned how great of a teacher I actually had. I thought to myself, wow, Mr. McCann is really a great teacher. He did a great job at explaining the math concepts, and he gave the students opportunities to master the course. This was a turning point of my high school career and of my life. I learned that we all have a tendency to blame the outside world in order to justify our own actions. This external locus of control will lead to being satisfied with mediocrity. The lesson that was revealed to me is that in order to truly succeed, I need to have an internal locus of control and take responsibility for my actions. If something in life isn't going the way I want it to, I shouldn't blame others. Rather, I should take responsibility and improve the situation. Having learned this, I realized that I have all the opportunities in the world to be successful at the CYHSB and in life. All I have to do is recognize them and take advantage of them. For example, in the summer of my sophomore year, I, along with some other students, wanted the opportunity to learn Torah even in the summer with our rebbe's. We could have complained that the school didn't put in place any type of program like this. Rather, I decided to take matters into my own hands and create the Ezra Summer Co-op with the help of Rabbi Sapir. My message to all, and especially to upcoming students, is that life has a lot to offer. but it's up to you to take advantage of it. Because if you do, you will be greatly rewarded.
When I first came to Memphis, I was a very different person. Over the course of 2 years, I went from regulars to honors classes, completed several AP courses, moved into a great neighborhood, got accepted to the Honor Scholars Program at Lander College for Women, and got accepted to my dream seminary. Despite all of this, absolutely nothing compares to the moment that I met Josh Kane and made the decision to make him my best friend. It goes without saying, this will impact my future far more than any of my aforementioned accomplishments and decisions. He has inspired me with his spectacular ballet, his unwavering tenacity, and his magnificent hair. No one just wakes up looking like that. Initially, I intended to be taken as a joke. However, upon further thinking, I realized how much truth there is in that statement. Rabbi Shimon McDonald states in Pirkei Avos, Perek Aleph Machine Design, Lo HaMikdash Eger Ela HaMaaseh. The essential thing is not study, but action. We constantly hear about the paramount importance of tzedakah and chesed every day in class and shul. One cannot truly absorb what it means for practice mitzvahs unless one sees them exemplified through sincere action. In the future, I hope to be one of the houses that people immediately look to for a Shabbos meal, a place to stay, or even a backyard to have their wedding. I hope to have a family that will not only welcome, but embrace newcomers to the community and to Klal Yisrael. These aspirations have been inspired by the Kane family, and their unwavering commitment to open up their home and extend themselves to the benefit of others in the community and beyond. They are a true example of living life, dedication, and passion of others without the expectation of receiving anything in return. I will forever be grateful to them and to everyone in the Memphis Beach community for the kindness, generosity, and chesed you all have shown for me and my family. As I venture out to the world, I aspire to emulate these leaders with the true joy and sincerity that I watched Kane and countless others in this community embody. Thank you, and also to the class of 2021.
Throughout high school, I have experienced many things that impacted me greatly. I've had amazing experiences with my friends, I have had friends with my teachers, and I've grown tremendously from all of them. The event that impacted me the most during my years in the Kubi Yeshiva was my Zaydi passing away. Unfortunately, I realized too late that learning life lessons from somebody who passed away, especially my Zaydi, is a proud way to see he could become great like they were. On June 8th, 2019, a few days after I completed my 10th grade year of high school, my Zaydi, Adam Raven, passed away. My first reaction to his passing was shock, because he was such a big part of my life growing up. After a few days, the shock faded and was replaced with sadness. It was a very difficult time, but in thinking about my relationship with him, I came to this that I could live in a way that would continue on his legacy. As a kid, I didn't fully understand the importance of learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. My Zaydi used to ask me every day if I was wearing my tzitzis. From learning with my rabbinic teachers, I now know why it was so important to him. Another lesson I learned was that if you have to be somewhere at a certain time, make sure they're on time, because my Zaydi used to be here from school every day and he was always the first one there. A third realization I had was that davening every day, putting on my tefillin with kavanah is important, because my Zaydi gave me my tefillin and made sure I put them on with kavanah every day, no matter what. One of the most important things that I learned is that you should go out of your way to make others feel good, even if you're having a bad day. The reason as to why it's impacted me more than anything else is because without my Zaydi, I would not be the person I am today. It's important to remember those who passed away, because when you see what a person can accomplish in life, it teaches us that if they did it, so can we. I hope, now that I'm leaving high school, I can become the kind of person that my Zaydi would be proud of, and continue to do the best I can be. On many Jewish holidays throughout the year, those that have lost loved ones say Yisr. One of the main reasons we say Yisr, besides to elevate their neshamas, is to rekindle our memories of them and what they taught us. I would like to offer us all a bracha that we remember the positive lessons that we learned from our grandparents and those who passed away, and that we be so to leave behind our own legacies that others will want to follow.
Imagine this. You're a 17-year-old kid that has been placed in charge of the kitchen along with one other peer, to prepare and conduct a festive 4-course feast for more than 300 people. Unlike other large formal functions, there's a choice of 4 different entrees, including rib steak, veggie steak, chicken, and fish. Oh, and among those ordering rib steak, one size will not fit all. There are those who want it well done, those who want it medium, guests that can't live with anything but rare, and a few who want their steaks in a state which most normal people would call raw. Your professional training as a chef, 0. Your expertise in industrial kitchen, 0. Your waiter's professional experience, 0. And get this, the adult in charge of this whole event, his professional training experience as a caterer, you guessed it, 0. Welcome to the CYHSB annual steak dinner. Sadly, I'm waiting all year long to say that. In addition to all this dinner will represent the school in a major way and has the potential to drive much attention and interest to your high school and to you. If things don't go as planned, the results could be drastic. However, if things go smoothly and according to plan, you and your high school will never forget the miraculous task that you helped pull off, and your legacy will live on forever. This was a situation I was to face my junior year. Prior to high school, there is no way I could have seen myself pulling off something like this. You see, it wasn't that I didn't necessarily have the ability or drive. It wasn't that I wouldn't be able to handle the pressure of an event like this. The sole reason for why I wouldn't have been able to lead the kitchen for a dinner of over 300 people was because of a lack of confidence. You see, this one event for my high school career meant much more to me than just a regular old steak dinner. This lone event was one of the major building blocks for me throughout high school in terms of confidence. Without this event, I don't think I would even be close to how confident I currently feel exiting high school and entering life. In the future, this confidence will allow me to assume responsibilities and challenges that I might have otherwise shied away from. And with that, I would like to say thank you and have a good night.
Good evening. At MHA-FYOS, we like to say, learning today, leading tomorrow. And leadership is a quality to which we hope our students will achieve, will strive. Indeed, as Jews in Galut, we suffer from a paucity of leaders and leadership. So many have made Aliyah over the past 40 years. So many have taken up other causes, including economic and professional growth, to the exclusion of Jewish leadership. Being a leader in our generation is particularly difficult, given the polarized social and political backdrop and the proliferation of trolls on the internet and elsewhere. One of the topics that yesterday's Parashat Shalach, touches on is leadership. Specifically, the thoughtful leadership of Moshe Rabbeinu, the courageous leadership of Caleb and Yehoshua, and the failed leadership of the other 10 leaders who did not achieve their mission. In the main, the parasha addresses the incident of the Meraglim, the spies that Moshe sent to Eretz Israel in advance of entering the land and in the wake of that catastrophe. The mission culminated in 10 of the spies maligning the land and thwarting Hashem's plan, and led directly to the disastrous result of that generation being compelled to remain in the desert and being denied entry into the land of Israel. In fact, the whole mission was unnecessary. Hashem had promised that he would pave the way for the people to enter the land. However, Moshe detected the people's resistance. The people were wavering in their belief that Hashem, in his belief in Hashem and his plan. Evil tendencies were starting to pop up. With Hashem's acquiescence, Moshe crafted the mission of the spies to help the people overcome their irrational concerns and prepare them for what was to come. Moshe selected righteous leaders to carry out the mission. Shelach lecha anashim. The last letters of these three words, teaches Balaturim, make the word through chet, chaf, and mem, form the word chacham. These people were wise. Prior to the mission, the Torah describes these leaders as anashim rashi b'nei Israel, men of stature, who were heads of the children of Israel. Rashi and others understand this phrase to be an indication of greatness and righteousness. However, in a subsequent comment describing the 10 spies, Rashi says that just as the spies came back from their mission with a bad report, similarly they embarked on their mission in a bad manner. In his Sefer, Chidushei Halev, Rav Henoch Leibowitz Atzal points out that with this comment, Rashi seems to contradict himself. Were these 10 spies in fact righteous before they embarked on the mission, as Rashi first explains, or were they evil from the outset, as Rashi later explains? The Gur Aryeh, Rabbi Yehuda Loeb, addresses this question and explains that an immediate transformation occurred in these spies in the moment that they were selected for their mission. Before the mission, they indeed were righteous, intelligent, and great. However, there was an instantaneous change in the orientation and outlook of the 10 spies that kicked in immediately upon their selection to lead this mission. They had been righteous, and in the blink of an eye, they became evil. What happened? Rabbi Lowe suggests that the outlook of these 10 leaders was corrupted by being selected as a leader of this mission. The corruption of the 10 spies stemmed from the incorrect view that they had of leadership. These leaders immediately came to see themselves as representatives of the people's ideas and beliefs, instead of being representatives of their interests. Like Caleb and Yoshua, they too should have advanced a bold vision for the future of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. Instead, these 10 became mouthpieces for the people's most base insecurities, disbeliefs, and shortcomings. The would-be leaders became abject followers. When executed faithfully and appropriately, leadership ennobles and enriches a leader and those who are led. When poorly executed, leadership debases and hurts the leader and those who are led. Each of the members of this class, the Fine Sub Yeshiva of the South class of 2021, has the potential, as you can see tonight, to be the next Kalez and Yoshuas, the next great Jewish leaders. During their high school years, each graduate has shown constructive leadership, describing a vision and creating opportunities for others to follow. Sports leagues, especially during the challenge of COVID, we heard about that tonight. Student council, we heard about that. Student activities, including color war, and even the creative use of learning spaces within the school, such as our new gazebos and picnic tables. Dedication to study, even when on Zoom. And each leads through example. These students have taken a greater variety of advanced placement courses, including science, math, and humanities, than in recent memory. A graduate, we heard, took Calculus BC this year, the highest level of math offered. Siyumim, YUBKIA's program, Nights of Learning of Torah Learning. Each of these students plans to continue on to college and university. In fact, almost half of these students were accepted into competitive honors or other distinguished programs. Indeed, each of these students has decided to spend at least 1 year in Eretz Yisrael to study and to grow. Each is continuing to invest time and energy in his or her own Jewish future. Each knows where he or she is going and is working hard to get there. The American leadership guru Simon Sinek says that the leaders who get the most out of their people are the leaders who care most about their people. Being a Jewish leader in 2021 is difficult. You have embraced this challenge and are on the road to greatness. My bracha for you, the Feinstein Yeshiva of the South class of 2021, as you continue to grow and lead, remember Kalev and Yoshua and the proper role of a leader to improve the situation of the people around you. Set an appropriate vision and don't settle for what is popular. Be righteous and care deeply for the people who you lead. Set a good example. Work to bring people along towards that vision. The future is bright, and with your leadership, it is even brighter. Mazal Tov, class of 2021, 5781.
Have you ever said you will start tomorrow, or that you will take on the next task that comes your way, but just not this one? I certainly have. But how do we think that we will get anywhere if we do not take the opportunities that present themselves each day? Throughout my high school career, I have focused on doing exactly that, seizing opportunities and new experiences that have therefore shaped me into the person I am now. JMHD students have been doing lessons on Mondays for years, and many of my friends told me about the amazing athletes they met. My first year of high school, I began volunteering at Special Olympics bowling. My first visit, I was greeted by a warm-hearted girl, Abby, who led me to her lane and taught me how to bowl. Little did I know that spending time with her would be the highlight of my week for the rest of high school. Abby has taught me so much about kindness and joy, and we have developed a wonderful relationship. I am thankful that I made the decision to participate in such a meaningful chesed program. If I had not taken the opportunity, then I wouldn't have known the joy of being a part of something outside of myself. Chesed Mondays was the first time I held myself to an important Torah standard. There's a general concept of ein ovrim al mitzvah, that one may not pass over or delay a mitzvah that comes one's way. If one mitzvah presents itself before another, we must immediately do the first. The Torah thinks this imperative to encourage us to take advantage of the many opportunities we are given, and the GMSG has been a place where I have tried to do exactly this, by expanding my horizons, taking on new leadership roles, and rapidly experiencing high school. Being in a small environment allowed me to engage in a variety of activities in my school. I was a member of the Model UN team, I ran cross country, I was a starter on the Lady Mass, and when the opportunity arose to be a leading presence, I took it, joining the school's student council. I was able to bring spirit into the GMSG as we planned chesed projects, fundraisers, and days full of fun activities. I wanted to leave an impact on the school for the better, and I believe that taking this opportunity gave me a chance to do so. However, one of the most important aspects of my high school career has been my affiliation with NCSY, an organization where I was able to connect with Jewish teams from all over the Midwest, as well as bring learning to the Memphis Jewish community. When I was given the opportunity to lead NCSY on chapter board, I couldn't pass it up, because I wanted to shape the experiences others would have in hopes that they would find it as impactful as I have. If we do not take an active role in the course of our own lives, then we fail to live the life that we are destined to live. The doors of opportunities are unlocked, but we will never actually know what is behind those doors unless we try and open them. The GMSG has provided me with numerous doors that open into myriad new rooms, and I have chosen to enter them all. The importance of seizing the opportunities that come our way is highlighted in one of the most perplexing stories in the Torah. In Parshat Shemos, Moshe leaves the burning bush after accepting to carry out the will of God by returning to Egypt to follow Hashem's promise of deliverance. The next verse reads, "Vayhi b'derech ba'alo, vayikashem hu Hashem, vayikesh hamita." It was on the way in the lodging, Hashem encountered him and sought to kill him. Wait a minute, why would Hashem want to kill Moshe after he had just agreed to follow God's request and take the people out of Egypt? It doesn't seem like he did anything wrong. Rashi explains that this was exactly the problem. Moshe did not give his son a bris at the immediate time he was commanded, on the 8th day, but rather delayed it. We can see the significance of Moshe's choice to dismiss the opportunity to give his son a bris and take this as a lesson for our own lives. Take advantage of each moment, whether it be to lead, grow, or help others around you. Our entire lives are made up of choices. We must actively participate in each and every one in order to shape our future. The GMSG has been a place where I could do this, where I could build my own future and grow into the person I am now. This is thanks to my amazing teachers, family, and my entire support system who have been rooting for me since day one and encouraging me to take on new roles and push myself. To my classmates, we have been together for many years, and our shared adventures have taught me that you'll know how to seize opportunities and take advantage of everything high school has offered. Although we may not continue together in our next educational experience, you have all become my closest friends, and I can't wait to see who you become. The class of 2021 has inspired me. The GMSG has allowed me to open doors I never dreamed would be unlocked, and led me to rooms I had always hoped to enter. Although the coming years are yet to be known, with the leadership skills and self-confidence I have gained over the past 4 years at the GMSG, I will never fear the closed door and eagerly grasp the handle to my future.
Looking on here, I see a lot of nervous faces, people looking at their watches, but don't worry. I brought plenty of batteries to change the microphone, so we're good. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone right here in person, and those around the world on Zoom, and of course, to our wonderful and incredible Feinstein and Schubert South campus. It is a great honor for Dr. Kennan and I to have the privilege of presenting the diplomas and talking about the graduates. Before we begin, I have two thank yous. First of all, a tremendous thank you to Mrs. Sarah Petitza for everything she did in me. My second thank you is to our faculty. We have so many spectacular, talented, and most of all, dedicated teachers. I don't know if you know how many of them spend so much time after school with individual students, working with them, helping them, advanced students, helping them advance, students who things come slower, helping them with their issues. It's unbelievable. We have had so much success. I don't know if I do the job of conveying to you just how incredible I and the rest, and Dr. Kennan and all of us think that you are. I hope that you'll be with us for many, many years. This is really a talented, dynamic, and diverse class. And once again, actually, I want to say, I was almost speaking while I was up there, down there, watching them. I don't need to speak tonight. We've gotten to know them. We've gotten to see them. Like, I don't really need to tell you about them. But since I spent all this time and all this stuff over here, so I think we're going to do it anyway. But really, I was like, really feel like I got to know each of you while you were speaking. Great job. So we have once again gotten each graduate a special small gift to help illuminate what each one of them is about. As I call each name, I would like to ask the parents to rise and remain standing so we can share some nachas talking about your child. In no particular order, but ladies first, Megan Sauer. Megan is the daughter of Ari and Hanel Sauer. Hanel has been teaching preschool at MHA for 13 years, and Ari is a Cooper graduate of the class of 1994, one of my students. And Ari still can't believe that after that I stayed in education. Ari, I think I'm having problems with my math, because by my calculations, it's 27 years ago. Cannot be. Now, Megan, we admire your love of animals and believe to love your caregivers, but we thought it might be time for you to broaden your horizons and go bolder. So, we got you the squid hat. So why the squid hat? Well, for starters, squids can swim backwards against the tide, just like Megan, who has her own unique style. Squids zoom through the water like Megan crochets at super speed. And squids have giant eyes that see the deep ocean, and Megan is a deep thinker. Can you hear me without that? Yeah, that's good. Mrs. Gerstein got to teach Megan Chumash for many years, and on many occasions, especially on Shabbos meal, she was sharing an idea, Megan, that you came up with during class. Megan is a Medrash encyclopedia. She seems to know every Medrash ever written, and certainly knows more of them than I do. Megan will tell you that Hebrew language skills are something she has to work really hard on. Now, the squid is blue, because Megan absolutely blew me away when we had a visiting rabbi speaking to the entire GMSG. And he asked the question as to why the pasuk that teaches the mitzvah of Sibit Yis Mitzrayim says, "V'gata b'lecha," you should teach your son. If the mitzvah applies to your daughters as well. And of all the girls that are there, the whole school was there, Megan, it was you who piped up and said, well, there's a rule in Hebrew that if you're referring to both sexes, you use the masculine form. She'll just be translated, you should teach your child. Megan, right on. That's so cool. Squids are known to have complex brains, and Megan is a complex woman capable of understanding complex subtleties. Squid brains are also donut-shaped, and when you think donuts, you think breakfast. And boy, has Megan taken over breakfast in the girls' school. She sets it up, cleans it up, organizes everything for all the girls. Oh, and health committee and every house relax. GMSG does not serve donuts for breakfast. Let's see, what else is squid? Oh, did you know that squids have 3 hearts? And Megan is certainly known for her overflowing heart. She spoke about friendship. Megan is such an incredible friend. It was a girl that GMSG was having a really hard time with the young girls and feeling down. It was Megan to spend hours talking to her and trying to cheer her up. She even offered her cat ears. And now, Megan, with this new squid hat, you can just put it on, we're able to absolutely cheer anyone up instantly. Megan would visit the Jewish home. She went on NCSY Gid, Chesed program in Israel, where you spend the summer giving to the land of people, and you made scarves for every teacher in their favorite colors. Megan loves and really cares about animals. In fact, whenever she is late, her usual excuse is she was rescuing or tending to a stray animal. And dormers, I don't think you should use that excuse. It only works for Megan. This squid hat is also symbolic of Megan's care of the environment and our impact on it. She was one of the most conscientious students who grabbed the science and helped out with the recycling program at the school. Okay, so what claims did I make about squids tonight? 1, they can swim backwards. 2, squids are fast. In fact, they can swim faster than any other invertebrate. 3, they have giant eyes, some as large as footballs. 4, they have complex brains that are shaped like donuts. And 5, squids have 3 hearts. Now, I could have said anything. None of you would know the difference. I don't think Dr. Color was here. So, your homework for tonight is to find out if all or even any of these claims are true. You thought you know. Wow. She said she knows a lot of facts. Okay. All right, Nathan's future plans include attending the Mashirei Seminary in Israel next year. One of my batteries? Rachel Finkelstein. Rachel is the daughter of Rabbi Joel and Bluma Zuckerbrot Finkelstein. Rachel's father, Rabbi Joel Finkelstein, has been a rabbi in Anshe Sfad Ben Olam congregation for 24 years and is a member of the Varakina for Guides our school. Rachel's mother, Bluma, taught a course in Zionism at the GMSG for many years. And I had the pleasure of having all 3 of her brothers, Usher, Tani, and Akiva, in my Gemara Shir. Rachel is one of 4 students who has attended our school all the way from pre-K3. Being the youngest member of a family like the Finkelsteins can be somewhat daunting. Rabbi and Mrs. Finkelstein are well-known scholars and community leaders, and all 3 of her brothers are outstanding students. Everyone here tonight who knows Rachel knows and can tell you that if anything, Rachel has set the bar even higher. And as you will soon hear, those are not just empty words. So for Rachel, we have Laughing Taffy. I'm going to hang on to 2 minutes. Okay, so why do we have Laffy Taffy? Well, first of all, Rachel has a wonderful, colorful, happy disposition. She is sweet as candy, and she is very flexible, easygoing, right? And she has stretched and extended herself in many different ways. Let's begin with this green Laffy Taffy. The color green represents kindness, midos, and chesed. Rachel is known for her tamimus. She is inclusive and cares about every single person. She does a lot for her shul, volunteers at Thanksgiving to prepare dinners for the poor, works with other girls struggling in her Judeans. And this is true. I don't know if anyone in school has ever heard her say a negative word about anyone. The blue Laffy Taffy. The color blue represents learning and knowledge. Rachel excels in Talmud Torah. She loves learning. She writes fancy as why. Her Torah is published in the Khan Arin National Journal. And she enjoys the living Divrei Torah. She does it quite well. Rachel doesn't just excel in her Torah studies. Besides always being on the honor roll, Rachel is an AP scholar with honor and was the recipient of the Yale Book Award. Wow. And there's much more. Blue and white are the colors of Israel. She is a religious Zionist, always active Yom HaZikaron, Yom HaTzmaut, is a member of the Stand With Us Leadership Council. The L in Laffy Taffy is for leadership. Suffice it to say that Rachel was student council vice president, a leader for NCSY, and contributed to just about every single activity that's happened at GMSG for the past 4 years. What about sports? Basketball and cross country and social, where we have social awareness and concerns. Rachel is a Facing History student ambassador, a Mom UN delegate, and a member of the Recycling Fund. And if you all are not convinced yet that Rachel may have set that bar even higher, Rachel has been admitted to the Stern College Honor Program It came with a $20,000 a year scholarship. That's for all 4 years. Each year is $20,000. And before that, as she said, she'll be attending Michalah in Israel and will be the first GMSGer, I think, in the past 30 years to go to that very serious and demanding seminary. Rachel, amazing. We are going to miss you. Ruth Kaplowitz. Ruthie is the daughter of Dr. Mark and Rebecca Kaplowitz. Mark is currently the vice president of on the MHA Board of Trustees. There are so many things I would love to share with you about Ruthie. She's such an interesting, bright, and diverse young lady. She's so creative, a polymath who seeks a deep understanding of every subject and has a lateral mindset. She's a most worldly high school student. She possesses an uncommonly mature understanding of literature and context, and she actually helped Mrs. Leroux teach AP art history of all of her cultural knowledge. So what have we chosen to give Ruthie? There we go. There you go. We definitely haven't done that one before. A pool floaty. So what's with the floaty? Well, Ruthie may sometimes procrastinate and wind up with a lot to do, but she always stays afloat. When you look at Ruthie's high school career and all she accomplished, she is more like a raft flying down the rapids. Our GMSG salutatorian, Ruthie is such an intense studier and worker, her entire 4 years of high school could probably be condensed into about 5 hours of cram time. Ruthie is an AP scholar with honor. She was co-student council president. A raft or float needs water to keep it afloat. Torah is said to be water of the Jewish people, and Torah keeps Ruthie afloat. I've been teaching Parshas Bereishit to GMSG for more than 30 years. And Ruthie, together with the other girls in her class this year, really came up with so many questions and insights and new points, more than I can remember in the last 15 years. Just unbelievable. Ruthie loves to learn, and as you heard, her ambition is to become a Morah and teacher of Torah. Ruthie, I have no doubt that you are quite capable of becoming a teacher, high school teacher if you wish, and teach at the very highest level. So go out these next years, learn. There's no doubt in my mind that you can do it. Be a tremendous Morah. Ruthie is very creative, an asset she took full advantage of as student council president. For example, she created and set up a beautiful scavenger hunt with puzzles and clues. She and the others did a great job of innovating activities to be done during this year of COVID. This floaty is also perfect for Ruthie because she's kind of anti-chair. She moves around, sits on furniture, paces around. A normal chair that's for Ruthie that just stays still, it's just not for her. Ruthie sends life jackets to her friends. In AP-US art and AP-US history, whenever there was an idea that students were having trouble similarly seeing clearly, Dr. Ken would ask you to explain it, and Ruthie explained it, and everybody would understand. Ruthie, you have so much depth, and we're so glad that so much of you finds its way to the surface for us to share. Ruthie will be going to Mashirei Mitzvah in Israel next year, followed by Stern College for Women Honors Program. Ilana Leibowitz. Ilana is the daughter of Menachem and Libby Leibowitz. Ilana comes to us from Passaic, New Jersey, and joined the GMSG dorm in 10th grade. Ilana has a whole lot of brothers and sisters. In fact, her family is larger than the entire GMSG. When I met her mother, I figured Ilana must be like the second or third oldest of the family. But it turns out that Ilana is the youngest of 13. The love her family has for her and for each other is on display tonight. 7 family members from far away from here, from New York, St. Louis, are here with us tonight. It's very meaningful to us that all of you have come and given us a chance to welcome you into the MHA family. A lot of us in Memphis don't realize that Ilana actually has Yeshiva of the South connections. Her uncles Randy and Louis Chapman graduated from the Yeshiva of the South in the early 1970s. I remember well that December night, 3 years ago. My wife and I were in New York visiting with my mom, when I had the opportunity to meet Ilana and her sister, who drove her from New Jersey to Far Rockaway with their mom to meet with me. By the way, thank you to Yeshiva Torah, really for allowing us to use that building that night. Remember the building? Yeah, trouble finding it. It was dark. Right? Not the building, the street was dark. All right. I remember being very impressed with both girls, who expressed so much enthusiasm in finding the right Torah high school for them to attend and grow in. A lot of times when you meet with students seeking to switch schools, they're kind of hesitant, a little down, not so sure, maybe they could give it a try. Not these 2 girls. Both of them seem very, very genuine, smiling, and eager to succeed. While sadly for us, Ilana's sister did not wind up at the GMSG, I am not the least bit surprised to hear that how well she is doing, having a wonderful year in Eretz Yisrael this year. But we were lucky to have Ilana join us at the beginning of her sophomore year. Now, Ilana, what do we have for you? Okay. Oh, no, it's not the big pool. I guess. She's hoping it's a pool for the float here. There we go. What we have here is, we have here this mountain and road. Show it to everybody. Mountain and road. Okay. Why so? Why this mountain and road? Well, it appears to be a bright, beautiful sky that matches Ilana's sunny disposition. The rope does symbolize the strong bonds Ilana has made with so many friends and families in Memphis. And the artwork calls to mind how much Ilana helped with all the art pieces the girls made for the GMSG Gala Dinner 2 years ago. But we still have more work to do to appreciate what this mountain and rope is truly all about. COVID obviously presented tremendous challenges for schools, and this was especially so for our dormitory programs. The need to be in mass and stay in cohorts and not be able to eat Shabbos meals with the community, and even in staff members' homes, and other such concerns would make dorm life very difficult, especially for the girls' dorm. So I was kind of blue and sad, and I think Ilana was too, when she made the difficult decision, and it was a good decision, to remain at home for the year and attend her classes over Zoom. Now, generally speaking, I do not like to be wrong. I like to think I don't have that much experience with it. But tonight, we have an exception. Boy, was I wrong, and I couldn't be any happier. Ilana, I must confess that while I understood your remaining at home, I really didn't think there was much chance you were going to succeed over Zoom. I really didn't. It's one thing to be on Zoom when the classes are being given and directed for people at Zoom. But to be at home when really I think the only girl who was on Zoom, and to be able to succeed was going to be such a great challenge, I really didn't think it was going to happen. Well, let me tell you, boy, was I wrong. Not only did Ilana climb the smaller mountains, she reached the pinnacle of success. Ilana, you made the semester honor roll. Now, it's unbelievable. So, well, at least I was right 3 years ago, and I thought you were perfect for GMSG. It was a few weeks after Sukkot, and I was speaking to your mom. I was already vaccinated and was expecting that the COVID snow would be melting fast after Pesach. And we agreed that we would find a way for you to return to Memphis for the last month of school. Everyone was so happy to see you back with us. And I want to thank Rabbi and Mrs. Sophia and all the kids for opening up their homes. Ilana, you are now on the top of the mountain and can look back at your high school career and see how much you have risen. Ilana will be attending Sharpmans this upcoming year. Amazing, mazel tov. Lee Sauer. Let's see. Lee is the daughter of Ari and Haniel Sauer. Haniel has been teaching preschool at MHA for 30 years, and Ari is still a graduate of the class of 1994. You know, I think I heard this before. But Ari, don't worry. I redid the math, and it's only 17 years ago, not 27. Okay. Let's see. What do we have for Lee? This traffic lights. Now let's see. Let's try to turn this light on. Woo! Yeah, first I thought it was broken. But now it's working fine. Only green is coming on, or at least only green's supposed to be coming on. Because for Lee, as you heard, there is no red light or even a yellow light. Lee is totally driven and always on the go. She certainly never stops and doesn't even ever slow down. Let's start off talking academics. Lee is our valedictorian and has compiled one of the highest GPAs we've ever had. She's a... She too is an AP scholar with honor. Took AP government, AP language, literature, art history, environmental science, AP US history, psychology, and I'm probably missing a couple. Lee is not just an AP scholar, Lee is a Feinstein scholar. Dr. Kennan considers Lee her arch nemesis because back in junior high, Dr. Kennan would rarely, if ever, give Lee a 100 on a test. Because there could always be a little more. So Lee made it her business in high school to show Dr. Kennan up and get an A+ in just about every class, hence that high GPA. Let's talk Lamud and Kodesh. The light is still green. Lee already dazzled us back when she was in 10th grade when she showed off her scholarship at the GMSG Showcase of Learning. And her team was awarded first place in the national Moot Beitin competition. As I said earlier, Lee is a joy to have as a student. She in particular came up with so many questions, new ideas in my voracious class, more than really any student I can remember. Lee, let's talk extracurriculars and leadership. Again, her light is still green. Lee was co-student council president. She's NC-SY chapter board president, worked on the yearbook, the Golden Globe, Model UN, Special Olympics, Thanksgiving dinner for the homeless, basketball team, cross country, and that's just some of what she has done. When it comes to student activities at the school, the division of labor in the school is such that basically I take a more direct leadership role with the boys, and Rabbi Harris usually takes a more direct role in the girls' school, planning, organizing, and running the girls' activities. Well, a few weeks ago, I was running the CYHSB field day while at the same time the girls were having color war, and Rabbi and Mrs. Harris were out of town attending Rabbi Harris's brother's wedding. What to do? Well, it's true that Dr. Kennan and Mrs. Batista were there to oversee and supervise, but really, there was no problem. We just turned color war over to Lee, who together with her co-president and the rest of the student council made a fantastic, fun-filled, and innovative color war with events like Make Your Own Think Shake. So it was really a great event, and he did such a great job. The GMSG would not have been the same without Lee. Yeshiva University gave Lee the green light by awarding her a $20,000 scholarship to attend the honors program at Stern College for Women, which she plans on doing after learning next year at her rove in Eretz Yisrael. Lee, mazel tov. Victoria Valiano. Victoria is the daughter of Adrian and Lena Valiano, who has worked in a preschool this year, and originally from Arkansas, Victoria joined GMSG for her junior year. Now, for Victoria, I thought of this kaleidoscope. Now, why the kaleidoscope? All right, I'm sure you're wondering. Or is it obvious? Victoria is a serious young person whose actions and decisions are always informed by what is right and ethical. She will often get right down to the point. When she got into the language honors Segala program with an incredibly large scholarship, as a student, she's jumping up and down, beaming from year to year, so excited. Victoria just says, got it. Okay, so those who only see Victoria from the outside might sometimes see a restrained person. But once you really get to know Victoria and her inner self, you find out that she's a colorful, ambitious person with so many different talents and ideas that come together in so many different ways. So that just reminded me of the kaleidoscope. You know, it's just all beautiful inside coming together. I don't know if it's working. So tonight, we are here to give you all a glimpse of what's on the inside. A big problem I have here tonight is that so many of these students have accomplished so much of the same amazing things. And it can get a little tiresome to hear about it. Having 35 triple doubles in one season is incredible, but if you have one team with 6 players who all got triple doubles and telling about each player got a triple double starts to get a little bit, monotonous. Well, yeah, we heard about these things. So I could tell you how Victoria is an AP Scholar with Honor, Feinstein Scholar, works on newspaper yearbook, is part of the Mashirei Mitzvah program, student council, does better together, Special Olympics. You heard all this before. So instead, I'm going to concentrate on just one or two things. Victoria and her family are recent converts to Judaism. And the entire family searches for truth and meaning and seeks to live by it. Victoria joined GMSG with very little skills in Judaic studies and Hebrew language. Naturally, for Chumash, she was placed in the lower level class, which was being taught by Mrs. Gersten. This past year at the GMSG, there were 3 Chumash classes, with the honors class being taught by our Dean of Students, Malka Harris. Mrs. Harris is a phenomenal teacher, and her Chumash class is one of the most challenging and demanding classes we have ever had. Having had the chance to get to know Victoria and seeing how much she had accomplished and grown during her first year, I said to my wife, I think Victoria should go to Mrs. Harris's class. What do you think? Without hesitation, she said, you're right. I don't think I've ever heard her say that to me before. But Victoria, she said, Victoria should have the chance to be in Mrs. Harris's class before she graduates. She will do great. So I spoke to Mrs. Harris about it. Now again, this is a high expectations class that does Rambans and Sfornos and other Mefarshim inside in the Hebrew. And I thought Mrs. Harris was going to say, what, are you crazy? What she did say was, if it was anyone else, I'd say you were crazy. But Victoria, yeah, she can do it. And so she did. Last summer, Victoria participated in the USC Shaw Foundation Action and Values Workshop, where she learned how to combat anti-Semitism and social injustice. A total fit for Victoria. Victoria is such an outstanding student and principled person. Am Yisrael can look forward to great things from her. Victoria will be attending Darkei Bina in Israel and was accepted into the Lander College for Women Medical Honors Pathway Program. Mazel tov. Benjamin Mendelsohn. Benjamin is the son of Tracy and David Mendelsohn. Okay, and Benjamin has been in our school since the first grade. Okay, what do we get for Benjamin? Well, we have here 2 half-dollars or 50-cent pieces, which are worth a lot more than that. Now, why these coins? After all, a bald eagle doesn't really fit Benjamin. I still miss that really cool bowl cut I used to have in junior high. Okay, well, to begin with, Benjamin exemplifies why the fine young Jewish men of Memphis belong in CYHSB. He is friendly, likable, positive, intelligent, dedicated, very accomplished. He has a heads-up approach to life. You can bank on Benjamin. He was active at NCSY, a Model UN delegate, participant in bridge builders, but may have to settle for silver rather than gold at the tennis Olympics. Like a JFK campaign, Benjamin did cross-country, and like President Kennedy in the South Pacific, Benjamin helped save a life during his summer in Israel. Like a magic coin, Benjamin knows how to disappear, and he can debate both sides of an issue, as he did at the Lander Models Besdin. He is a shining ball player and was the anchor of the match, an average 22 points a game in his senior year in a non-COVID alternate universe. Benjamin also is kind of like a coin that is dropped in the ocean because he has become a very deep thinker. Benjamin also tells me that he's also become a very deep sleeper and has learned to spin many tales to explain why he is late to school. Benjamin has an eagle eye, and he's planning to spread his wings and fly on Kanfei Nisharim, the wings of an eagle, to spend a year studying Torah and Eretz Yisrael at Reish Yerushalayim before beginning his college career at the University of Maryland. Mazel tov. Akiva Braverman. Okay. Akiva is the son of all right, start again. All right, the MHA-FYOS force runs deep in the Braverman family, so this is going to take some time. Akiva again is the son of Kevin and Rivka Braverman. I taught his mother Rivka when she graduated from GMSG back in the 90s. And get this, his maternal grandfather, Alan Katch, graduated from Yeshiva South back in 1968, and also the three of them, Akiva, Rivka, and also his grandfather, are all kindergarten through 12th grade graduates of the Feinstein Yeshiva. My colleagues wanted to know if I taught his grandfather as well. Very funny. So Akiva is a third-generation graduate of the school, but there's more. His grandmother, Esther Katz, is a past PTA president, and there's a fourth generation, as Akiva's great-grandparents, Israel and Pearl Katz, Allah Shalom, were founders of the school. Pearl was the PTA president, and Izzy was a longtime member of the Board of Trustees. Is Izzy here? He's not able to make it. I hope he's able to watch over Zoom. And certainly, if you are out there, it's a privilege to have taught Akiva and so many of your children. Well, Akiva, let's face it, we have run out of time to say anything about you. I'm already 1 minute over the individual student time limit. But no worry, you know, I never dismiss my classes at the bell. Okay, so not once. So let's see. What do we have for Akiva? Cicadas don't bug me. Now, it's true that all of us who know Akiva know he does not like to be bugged, but there's a much deeper message in this book. In Baltimore, it's the time of the 17-year cicadas. You know, the large winged bugs with beady red eyes that grow underground for 17 years before emerging in spectacular numbers, and their sounds can reach 100 decibels, the same as a jet flying overhead at 1,000 feet. Quiet and unassuming for 17 years, and then bang! And so, I thought of Akiva. A most of the time quiet and unassuming young man during his 15 years in school, and now as a senior reaching graduation, bam! I was watching the Cooper Football League without my glasses on the other week, and I looked up and I saw this amazing quarterback. And I'm looking, I don't have my glasses, there's really great throws, and I say, really great throws, and I say, hey, is that Akiva? Akiva's such a great quarterback? Wow, had no idea. Rabbi Harris will tell you how Akiva is showing mastery in his Gemara. And the staff will tell you how much Akiva you've matured and are deserving the title of most improved student. Like the cicada, Akiva has that large family that he loves. He loves his dog, he's a really good friend, but unlike the cicada, he will not be going away. He is headed for Shai Mivasai next year, followed by Landis College, where he plans to pursue his ambition of becoming an engineer or architect. Akiva, Mazel Tov, we're going to miss you. Herschel Kaiser. Herschel is the son of Ross and Anita Pizer. Herschel's family moved to Memphis from Nashville when he was in 7th grade, and his older sisters, Emma and Helena, spent their high school years at the GMSG. Now, for Herschel, we shall begin with this cute little caterpillar. Now, as Herschel moves slowly and deliberately, always moving forward and knows to where he goes. Herschel is a methodical thinker. He works hard to get ideas clear in his head and has delivered a number of impressive shiurim at our evenings of Divrei Torah. After one particular shiur that you gave, I had to play the tape back. It took me about an hour and a half to listen to everything that you said, contemplated, to really understand it. It was really a fantastic shiur. Herschel does like to take his time. In fact, he's currently finishing his statistics homework. And while caterpillars were born to eat, they consume as much as, Megan, how much do they consume? Okay, a lot. Okay. They consume as much as 27,000 times their weight during a brief lifetime. Herschel was born to prepare the food. He did an amazing job at the state dinner, and this year was the head of the kitchen for the new and amazing and annual Sea White SSB restaurant night that inaugurated the Cooper Max Burger. And Herschel nailed it. Herschel, we talked about confidence. And I want to tell you, you have my total confidence. Herschel, totally reliable. He gets things done, and like a caterpillar, has emerged as a butterfly who can work quickly and make sure everything works out beautifully. Herschel personifies what it means to be a young man committed to the directive of halachta b'drachav. You should walk in God's ways. Herschel is kind. He cares about others and can be counted on to help out in many different ways. Herschel, along with many of our other students here, served as an important role model to our youngest students. He's dedicated to tefillah, halacha, learning, a wonderful chazan, has helped with the Kriyas HaTorah, and is always ready to help. Herschel's always asking me, Rabbi, do you need any help? Do you need help with the Eruv? Just this past Thursday night, Herschel and I were in Poplar fixing the Eruv to nearly midnight. Herschel was part of Model Basin, was the captain of the golf team. Golf's good for a caterpillar. And he also played for the Mets and has a three-point shot that floats like a butterfly. So, Herschel, Mazel Tov. Herschel plans on attending Yeshivas Derech Eitz Chaim, followed by Lander College for Men. Mazel Tov. Jason Schubert. Jason is the son of Eric and Charna Schubert. Eric is an Ish Chesed Award recipient, and Charna served as the early child principal for more than a decade, and also served as the principal of an elementary school from 2017 to 2020. Now, while Jason's gift was not the first one I thought of, it's the one gift that the entire admin team came up with independently of each other, and it is a microphone. Now, unlike other students in the past, who might have gotten a microphone because they need a microphone, Jason is getting the microphone because Jason is a microphone. Indeed, Jason loves to talk. He's a super conversationalist and certainly has the gift for gab. The wonderful thing about Jason is from time to time, he has an opinion on a subject. And on occasion, he can even be persuaded to express them. Jason loves a good debate. He's not afraid to disagree with absolutely everyone. And no one expresses their views with more vigor and conviction than you. He knows how to amplify his points. That Jason listens and is open to feedback. That microphone. Okay, Jason can be heard nearly every Rosh Chodesh leading Kriyas HaTorah, often chazan for Hallel, loves to do Hallel. Now, Jason has no tolerance for stupidity. And in his view, a lot of things are stupid. Don't tell us what they are right now. I think I know one of them. All right. Okay. Jason and I don't always agree about every controversial issue, but there's one thing he and I are both quite sure about. You tell him, Jason.
Oh, LeBron James is the greatest player of all time.
That may be the only issue that gets more heat in America than a debate about Donald Trump. Jason loves sports, and we can all see him behind the microphone. He'd be an amazing sportscaster, but with Jason's steadfast commitment to Torah, mitzvos, and Shabbos, that's likely not going to happen. Now, Jason, although the microphone for you was a unanimous selection, I'm going to actually go in a different direction, so I'll give it back. Oh, wait, not yet. There are two kinds of leaders. Those who seek leadership positions and titles, such as president, vice president, and those who just step in and take command when situations arise that demand leadership. Jason is that second kind of leader. I remember the Sunday of last year's state dinner. Jason was consistently by my side throughout the day, making sure the seating and reservation lists and money and dozens of other things were getting done. I didn't ask, you just did it. Jason's efforts had a tremendous impact, and I really appreciated it. Jason has been Gabbai for years. He helped expand the area behind Larry Brown's house and was an incredible force behind this year's yearbook. A couple of weeks ago, I said to the senior boys, you guys have set a new record. It's May 13th, and you guys have not done one single thing for the yearbook. Now, Jason said, don't worry about it, Rabbi. We got it. And I wasn't the least bit concerned. Jason and Moshe took charge, and tonight we have an 80-page quality CYHSB yearbook. Jason has been on student council for years. It doesn't matter the title. When there's something major to get done that needs work and to get done, he gets involved. This year, he is Minister of Chesed, and Jason, we do still have one more thing to do. We'll be talking. Jason can be a tremendous force in Ruach, and he has been part of some spectacular Cooper Friday night meals. Now, Jason and I can get a little bit competitive, all right? So it has to do something with Hine Mato. So there's this thing where I kind of go like, hey! Now, I'm doing that quick, but, you know, like you can go on for like, what's it, like 10 minutes? And then, what, you know, and then that guy's got to respond. Now, Jason made it his business to best me, but we didn't have one this last month, so we'll have to see. So, but really, it was tremendous ruach that we have in those things, and Jason, tremendous leader of ruach. So, Jason talked about the CFL. Who would have dreamed how crucial it was going to become when we went an entire year without the Cooper Max? The excitement around the CFL has been amazing. Nearly every student in the school plays, and we are really thankful to you and Ezra for making it happen. Jason and I were talking about what he might do in the future. If he can be, right? If he can't be an announcer, maybe a general manager or a sports agent. But I realize now that you are destined to be a lot more. So, I predict that in 2032, Jason will be opening the brand new and exciting SBVL, the Schubert Beach Volleyball League, with the first game taking place at the newly renovated Cooper Beach, right here at CUSSB, using this inaugural Schubert Volleyball League. Jason, Cooper Beach. Jason is one of our students that's been with us since pre-K3, and Jason is a budding Talmid Chacham. So if you ask him a kasha when I just said, he'll tell you it was Badal B'Shishim. Jason plans to spend next year at Torah Shraga in Israel, and then continue building his future at Yeshiva University. Jason, Mazel Tov. Moshe Davidowitz. Moshe is the son of Noah and Dr. Dina Davidowitz. His father, Noam, is in charge of technology at MHA, and he was instrumental in us pulling off last year's graduation over Zoom. I am sure he joins me in saying, thank God this year's graduation is in person. I do want to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Davidowitz for her help this year as a resource for Rabbi Owen, myself, and the rest of the school as we crafted policies and made decisions that allowed our school to be in person this year. We are very thankful that at the high school level, we did not have to close in-person learning even one day due to an incidence of COVID-19 at the high school. Back to Moshe. Moshe is a very special young man. If I'm asked the question, what is your vision of what a CUHSB graduate should look like? I'd say, that's easy. I'll just show them a picture of Moshe. And I'm not referring to his good looks. Not that he doesn't have good looks, it's just what I'm not referring to. All right. There isn't a yeshiva in the world that wouldn't be proud to have Moshe as their graduate, as Moshe truly is an all-around guy. No, I'll have to keep it spinning. All right, so here we go. Now, let's hang on. All right, Moshe is an exemplar of Torah Umada. His accomplishments in both Limudei Kodesh and general studies are absolutely stellar. Moshe is the center around which so many activities revolve. Last summer, he led a group of students to meet with me about creating that longer and more advanced Gemara program for intermediate students, which was implemented and has been a spectacular success. Moshe has been part of the YU and Kuba B'Kiyas programs, finishing Makos and Moed Katan while keeping up with Daf Yomi for more than 2 years. Wow. He was a key member of multiple Malal basement teams. He has given some high-level shurim at our evenings of the Torah without the aid of a written text. He learns with Asmara. He's a fantastic Bal Koreh. He read multiple chapters in Megillas Esther and Purim, and he has written Divrei Torah that have been published in the national journals. Moshe really is like a hula hoop. He just keeps on going and going. On the Mada side of things, Moshe's resume is just as impressive. He's an AP scholar with honor. Moshe scored a perfect 5 on the AP Calculus AB test, and he did it as a junior. I don't recall the last time that happened, and this year he took the AP BC Calculus exam along with a host of others. It's no wonder Moshe was accepted into the Yeshiva University Honors Program and awarded another one of those huge merit scholarships. But when we say Moshe is well-rounded, we don't just mean Torah Mada, we also mean Torah and Derech Eretz. Moshe displays wonderful midos and is very involved in extracurricular activities. Mada UN delegate, producing multiple steak dinner commercials and videos, played for the Max, cross country, St. Jude Collar, active in NCSY, and most impressive thing to me is that newspaper. Every week, articles. It's just unbelievable how you can get it out, a paper like that out week after week after week while doing all those other things. Just unbelievable. Moshe just keeps on spinning and spinning faster and faster. I'm supposed to kind of like spinning this around. Yet, he never veers off. And it's quite clear that the only thing he has no time for is sleep. His peers recognize that he's the center where so much evolves and elected him to be the student council president. Moshe, it has been a pleasure to work with you and to learn with you. Moshe is not going to be taking it easy. His quest to become a Lamdan will enter high gear in Keren B'Yavneh in the coming year and later continue his learning and general studies at Yeshiva University. Moshe, come on down. Now, who could that be? You know it, Benji Heller. Benji is the son of Dr. Daniel and Achama Heller from Miami, Florida. And wouldn't you know it, the Margin Hebrew Academy is in his DNA, as he is the grandson of Jennifer Whitman, who graduated from GMSG in 1977. Dr. and Mrs. Heller, thank you so much for being here this evening. It really means a lot to the school and the community, and of course to Benji, have you and the rest of the family here tonight. Thank you so much for coming. Benji came to our school in 11th grade, and it's been an incredible, multifaceted, exciting, and fun-filled ride. Just the way Benji likes it. Benji was the first graduate whose president I selected. I knew just what it was going to be, and here it is. So I'm sure you're wondering, why was it so obvious to get this present for Benji? Now, I know some of you are thinking it's because Benji loves to talk and shoot the breeze and has the heartiest laugh. The sound of Benji fills the air wherever he goes. But it's much deeper than that. Benji also enjoys speaking and giving divrei Torah, be it at a Shabbos table in Memphis or discussing what he has learned in yeshiva when he goes home to Florida. Benji spoke about how he has grown during the past 2 years, and it's true. Benji impressed us with his exposition of the Baal Ma'ar at the evening of divrei Torah. And Benji, when you change, the truth gets out. At the most recent MHA board meeting, Benji gave the Dvar Torah. And Benji was a community board member that requested you give the Dvar Torah. So the truth is out, and now these teeth are the smile that can be seen on your parents' face. Those of us who daven at the yeshiva are thinking something different about this. The mouthpiece was the obvious choice, as Benji has a powerful, booming voice, and he's been inspiring everyone at the yeshiva with his davening all year long. I really look forward to hearing you daven. I'm going to miss it. Benji entertained us all as the featured vocalist at last year's state dinner. So again, if Benji happens to be in your shul, if he's back here, one of the shul's rabbis, make him the chazan. It's geshma. This mouthpiece may also represent Benji's future, as he wants to be a lawyer. He figures the skill that he has developed arguing on his behalf so many times at school should be used for the benefit of others. Benji was a star lawyer at mock trial and used his verbal skills to help bring Cooper its first outright victory in many years. Benji and I work together in self-improvement, and hopefully I'm getting a little better. At one of our Ma'ariv Shalom Nigan and Ma'aseh Thursday night mishmas, and this is a true story, Rabbi Nissan told a really incredible, inspirational story about something that someone had done. It's not, all right, now, I went to Benji, and I said to him, that was an inspiring story, but what you did not do tonight was even more inspiring. It had to do with keeping quiet. I can't share with you the details. Benji, you know what it's about, right? And it's something to keep on working on and mastering. It was very inspirational. The past two school years have been a very difficult time for everyone, so the really good days stand out in your minds. Now I'm going to get to you really the reason why I first thought of this. Putting aside family simchas, one of my best days was not the day that Benji joined our school, but a few months later, when Benji joined my Gemara Shir. Benji quickly became the top student in his year, coming to learn every day, driving, thinking, participating. Unbelievable. Just driving the whole class, really learning with such intensity. And it didn't stop when we went on Zoom. When we went on Zoom, the learning, not easy to do the Gemara on Zoom. Your learning on Zoom was just top-notch, unbelievable, something really special. So this really represents my smile. It's my smile I'm giving to you for having had you in the shir. And if you turn around the frown, maybe that now you're leaving. So Benji elected then to stay in the shir another year. Even though it's primarily 9th and 10th grade year, he's not going to let that gaiva get in the way of learning. And it was really just a pleasure again to be able to learn with you. And Benji's already asked to have me for us to learn together in the during the summer. He started learning with me on after Mincha, and it spread. And other people, we have like a whole group now learning because Benji stepped in. So Benji, you really found your rhythm here at the Finest Issue this South. Benji will be heading to Eretz Yisrael next year, where he'll be learning at Eish Gesher. I'm sure we'll stay in touch, and I'm going to miss you. Ezra Summer. Ezra Summer is the son of Dr. Brad and Shayna Summer. Dr. Summer is a past president of the Board of Trustees. His sister Shoshana is a 2011 GMSG graduate, and his brother Kiva graduated from Cooper in 2014. All right, Ezra, what do we got for you? What do we got? We have here. Technical difficulties. Here we go, the right one. Portland Trailblazers wallet. There you go. Thank you, you're welcome, you're welcome. Now, I'm sure Ezra's thinking, what's this? A Portland Trailblazer wallet? Why are you giving me that? Well, at least it's not a Utah Jazz wallet, right? So why this wallet? Ezra, let's put that question aside. Maybe we'll come back to it, all right? Ezra, I have a lot to say about you, but you agree this graduation will be getting pretty long, so enough of that. Instead, let's learn. Okay, let's learn. So we're on the Gemara over here, Kuf Lamed on the base in Shabbos, and there's a Mishnah that talks about the problem you can have mitzvahs in conflict with each other. So, for example, you can have a mitzvah of milah, which is, circumcision, and it could be Shabbos. And those two mitzvahs are in conflict. So there's a rule that the positive commandment overrides the negative commandment. And actually do the milah on Shabbos, even though without the mitzvah, that would be considered a violation of don't work on Shabbos. So the Mishnah now discusses what about the steps that come before the milah, right? So what can you do those steps as well? In other words, let's say you need a knife sharpened in order to do the milah. Can you do that? Maybe you need to craft a knife. Maybe you need to carry the knife to the shul, to the house. So those are called the Mashirei Mitzvah. Do they also override? Can you do those on Shabbos or not? So I saw a very, very interesting Dvar Torah in a Torah journal that discusses this topic. And in the Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer says, his opinion is that you could do it, the Machshira, they do override, and you could sharpen that knife or bring it to the house, etc. Well, you look at a page of the Gemara ahead, and I think it's Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says over here that this is not a universal principle. Rabbi Eliezer doesn't necessarily apply it to all other similar situations. How do we know that it's not universal? Well, he says that there's another mitzvah. There's another mitzvah of you bring on Shavuos the shtei alechem. That was a special procedure, and you would need to cut the stalks to get it, and the cutting of the stalks would involve violation normally of Yom Tov. But you're allowed to do it, and even though it's preparation, it's not really part of the actual sacrifice. So how do we know you're allowed to do those? He doesn't learn it out, Rabbi Eliezer, from where? He does not learn it out from. He doesn't learn it out from Milah. He has to bring a different source. So you see, you can't universalize it. You have to have some other source to teach it. So the Ritva asks a question, and the Ritva's question is that really, of course, you can't learn it out from there. Why? Because by Milah, the Milah itself involves a conflict with Shabbos. So since the Milah overrides Shabbos, so everything preceding it also will, the Machshirim also will. But by the Shtei Alechem, with the mitzvah is the sacrificing of the Shtei Alechem itself, with the procedure Shtei Alechem you study, involves no conflict with Yantiv. So of course you would need a different source to say that the preliminary steps override it. Now, it's kind of late, and I could go on and on with this Dvar Torah. It gets much more complicated. But I want to tell you where I read this Dvar Torah. I read this Dvar Torah in the Ezra Summer Kollel Weekly. That Kollel you heard about? Bunch of guys in there. They were learning. They have this journal. This journal there was a number of issues in the summer, and then it turned into a journal. What's the new name? The one we had during the year, Rabbi Safir's year? That's the, oh, so yeah, it continues with a name, and there's been like about 12, at least a dozen editions of the journal. Now, back in 10th grade, Ezra discovered learning. He developed a strong bond with Rabbi Safir. And I would come in the Beis Medrash, 11 o'clock at night sometimes. Ezra's sitting there learning, and he blazed a trail for the entire school. Trailblazing. Guys writing articles. So the reason for the Trailblazer wallet is really to signify this idea of the trail you have blazed for others to follow in. And we have so many students. I mean, last week on Shabbos, Ezra comes in with, what was it, like 7, 8 guys learning Shabbos afternoon with Rabbi Safir. They come in for Mincha. So really, it was like an obvious thing for me. I thought, oh, this is the perfect gift for Ezra. Now, so as we say, Ezra indeed has been a trailblazer. Now, Ezra, we also got you, here comes that. We also got you this cute little Memphis Grizzly to cheer you up and keep hope alive. Wait till next year, the eternal cry of a Grizzly fan. Speaking of next year, Ezra will be going to Shelvin and is planning on attending Yeshiva University afterwards. Mazel tov. Before we conclude tonight, I would like to point out that Ezra Sommer is also an AP Scholar with honor. So if you were paying attention, you would have noticed that 6 of our 13 graduates are AP Scholars with honor, and 5 of our graduates have been accepted into the honors programs at either YU, Stearns, or Lander College. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, the parents, and the entire community for the trust you placed in me, the rest of my faculty, and Rabbi Owen to educate your children, this very holy and precious commodity, and very precious task and service that you allow us this opportunity. It continues to be an amazing thing. I want to tell the young men and women, my life is so full. It's been a very difficult 4 years. And you guys, you girls, fill the hole inside of me so that it's just overflowing. And so thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be not your principal, but more it's a privilege to be your Rebbe. And so just thank you so much for all these years. Graduates, please rise. You may turn your tassels. Rabbi Owen, Dr. Kennan, and members of the Board of Trustees, it's my distinct privilege to present to you the Feinstone Yeshiva South graduating class of Tuf Shin Peyal 5781. Good evening. You want to stay more? You want me to finish the Dvar Torah? Hang on a second. Yeah. You want to do it right this second? Don't usually. Usually people